Mm-mm. Hey.
Hey, how you doing today?
With my light that my husband has. So my husband does like videography and stuff. So he put this light in my office so I can have more light, but it has like a million colors. I'm like, can I just get to white? Like, where is the regular? Hey, dear, just make me regular because I can't.
Exactly. We're doing dividends in the dark tonight with the green light special.
There we go, light.
There you go.
Over here pushing buttons, blue, green. I'm like, oh wait. So if it's that color, then I just turn it the other way, and that's what you just did.
Nah, I changed colors.
Where is it on that thing?
What? White.
Yeah.
3200K.
Oh, so it's not okay. So 3200K is just. He got stuff all set up in here. You know, I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing. Okay.
Look, let me see. Can I see y'all?
Yeah, come on. It's just me and Charlene right now. I haven't let the people in yet.
Hello, Miss Charlene.
Hey, how you doing?
Awesome. How are you?
Good.
No, I can't see.
It's kind of hard to see, but Charlene, am I
How
clear?
does she look? Is she? I mean, can you see her face? Is she lit?
Yeah, I can see your face. You're clear.
Good. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Buddy. Have fun. Oh shit.
I'm
sorry, man. I'm getting out of the way.
Okay, Charlene. So I'm gonna open the broadcast in a little bit, but what I'm gonna do is do like just an intro of the Lady CPA, what we do, all of that good stuff. No, it's good.
Okay, good. So I can you can like, but it's going.
Then yeah, because it closes it in when you do that. You can leave it like that. That's fine.
Or turn it.
Yeah, that'll work too. Either one of them. Yeah,
dude. Because I still want the light to go that pretty face.
Okay, so yes, I'll do an intro and just tell them about the Lady CPA, all of that, and I'm just gonna turn it over to you. And I'm gonna monitor the questions as they go through. So when you're at a point where you're, you know, pretty much done with whatever topic you're talking about and you're ready for questions, just kind of let me know or do a segue, and then I'll start reading off the questions that they put in the Q&A box.
Okay, sounds good. I don't want to go too fast because I don't know the level of individuals. So
yeah,
questions probably would help so that I won't go too deep into it and so that I'm not speaking at too slow of a pace. So I'll start off with some basic information.
Yeah, and I'll tell them as they're starting now, thinking of questions to start to post them so that they're not waiting you finish talking before they start putting questions in the Q&A part. So
okay, perfect.
Rolling, yeah. Usually when I do the registrations, I make them ask a question. So I like require in the registration form, and I guess I forgot to hit that button this time because I looked
That's okay. We'll get it in.
Okay, all right. Let me get this going. 7 o'clock. Let me go here. Okay, Charlene, I'm gonna hit broadcast, but I'm not gonna do the intro yet because I'm gonna give everybody more time to start logging in, and then we'll start about 4 or 5 minutes. So I shared my screen, so what they're gonna see now is just the welcome thing for our website.
Okay, sounds good.
Hey ladies, thank you for joining. We're going to give everyone about 3 or 4 more minutes to log in, and then we'll get started. All right, ladies, welcome to the Lady CPA and Charlene Rhinehart. We are hosting Women Investing Wisely. So before we get started today, I'm actually going to do a brief introduction. I know we have quite a few new followers. So for those of you who may not know the history of the Lady CPA, the organization was started about 2.5 years ago, and it was actually founded by myself because I was studying for the CPA exam at that time. And I really found that I needed a support system, but a support system of women like me. So a support system, because you have your family, you have your friends, but no one truly knows the CPA journey unless they're going through it or have been through it themselves. So I start Googling, trying to find an organization, and I found some, but none with women that look like me. And then also the age was a factor because you get a lot of young people who are straight out of college, fresh with the knowledge and studying for the CPA exam, but what they were going through still wasn't quite what I was going through. So, we're on Facebook groups, CPA study sessions, and I'm just sitting here looking at these postings like, what are these people talking about? Because they're like, oh, I can study 8 hours a day. I passed all parts in 6 months. And I'm like, whose reality is that? Like, that's not my reality. So I was like, you know what? I can't deal with this. So a dear friend of mine, Tori, and I, because she was my accountability partner, at that time we're talking, and I'm like, I got to do something because this is just not where it is. And so many women become discouraged because at that time, I think I was 40 blah blah something when I started studying, and I'm like, I'm married, I have kids, I have a business that I'm running, I have employees. I don't have that kind of time to dedicate, but I know I can still do this. So that's kind of how the Lady CPA Network was founded. I wanted to put together a group of women as mentors who were already CPAs, and then people who were like myself, no necessarily age limitation, young and old, but who wanted someone like themselves to be able to mentor them. Someone that can say, hey sis, are you studying today? Hey sis, what's your plan? Put the kids away, give them to their grandparents, like whatever needs to happen, we're going to get this done. So that's literally what we did. I've always heard if you don't have a solution to a problem or you can't find a solution to a problem, then you create that solution. So that's what I did in founding the Lady CPA Network. So now 2.5 years later, we're doing really well. We have different, mentors, mentees, people approaching us every day, saying, what can I do either to help with the organization or can you please send me a mentor? And I literally have about 5 young ladies now that I'm I'm trying to match with mentors. So with that said, if you're on this call and you are a CPA and you have not signed up to our mentor list, please do so, because I literally do have about 5 young ladies that are waiting on me to match them with mentors, and I'm running out of mentors. And what our mentors are referred to as lady ambassadors. I prefer not to charge a fee. I just really want your time. Like, I don't care if you pay the lady ambassador membership fee and all of that. If you do, so be it. If you don't, I just really need your time. So again, if you are, or you know anyone else that has the time to dedicate just to being able to mentor another young lady in this process, please let me know. So with that said, again, welcome to the webinar, Women Investing Wisely. Charlene actually did this for us, I think about 2 years ago, and I've been literally investing since our last webinar. I don't know if I'm a guru at it, but I have made money. So I guess I'm doing good. So with that said, ladies, I'm going to turn this over to Charlene. Remember, if you have questions, to place them in the Q&A. You don't have to wait until the end or until she's finished. As the questions come to you, please go ahead and post them, because we'll start addressing them throughout the webinar. Thank you, ladies, for attending, and let's get started.
Hi, everybody. Thanks, Joanne, for having me on again. I'm so excited to talk about investing, because 2, 3, 4 years ago, a lot of women were not talking about investing, but now we're digging in, we're getting over our fears, and we're making an additional stream of income without adding something extra to our to-do list. And that's so important, because when people talk about multiple streams of income or building wealth, we usually mean getting another job, getting another side hustle, starting another business. That's a lot. We are already super women out here. So how can we profit from the things that we do every day? And that's investing. So here's a little bit about me. I am Charlene Rhinehart. I am the founder of Wealthy Women Daily. Wealthy Women Daily is all about investing in your dream life. You have to look at the things that you are giving your money to, because your net worth is a sum of all the decisions that you make. So when I work with people, I'm always saying, hey, what did you do today? Did you increase your net worth, or did you decrease it? Did you invest in products from a company, and are you an investor in those products that you're giving your money to? So I get people to look at, what are we doing on a daily basis, because that's going to determine our financial trajectory in the long run. I'm also the author of Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend. So while I was going through this investing process and interviewing a lot of people about money, entrepreneurship, finances, one thing constantly came up. Women were like, I'm scared. I don't want to lose all my money. I don't know what to invest in. And I was like, okay, people have made us intimidated, and we are stronger than that. A lot of us have been to college. A lot of us have overcome stuff in our careers, in our personal lives. We've done so much. Investing is nothing. If we can overcome that, we can master this investing. So I wrote the book so that I could make shopping in the stock market as easy as shopping at the mall. So I make a lot of references to the mall, because that's something that we can relate to, either the mall or online shopping. I know a lot of people are getting packages from Amazon all the time. We know how that works. One click of a button and we can buy anything we want at Amazon and have it delivered to our home within a few days if we have that Prime special membership. And it's the same way when you're investing in the stock market. I also have Dividend Newsletters, because after people read the book or they know about dividend investing, they're like, okay, what's next? I want to know what stocks to invest in. And so I created the Dividend Investor. It's a monthly newsletter that shows you stocks that you should add to your watch list. Not only do you get stocks, but you get information about it. Like, we talk about REITs. People are like, what are REITs? It's a way to invest in real estate through the stock market. That means you don't have to have thousands of dollars to buy a property, or you don't have to have all the time to go through the property approval process. you can start learning about real estate through the stock market. And REITs are real estate investment trusts. It's just one category of dividend paying stocks that we talk about. But what's important is that you know your options. So in that newsletter, I provide you with options, tell you about the different types of accounts, because when you're investing, you need to understand taxes. I always tell people, don't talk about building wealth if you are trying to escape the taxation piece of it, okay? You cannot do that. Taxes are a big part of wealth building, and you have to be strategic about that. You'll hear this during the political process. Everyone is always saying, oh, this person didn't pay anything in taxes. Well, your question should be, well, how did they do that? What tax strategies are they doing? And why do I have to allocate a greater percentage of my money towards taxes? People don't know this or don't realize it, but taxes are the largest expense that most people have. Not only do we have income tax, property tax, we pay sales tax. There are just so many different types of taxes. So I talk about taxes in these newsletters so that you can plan for your wealth building goals. So that's a little about what I do now. But what I started my career was in financial services. I did financial services because I wanted to understand money and how it works. Now, when I got in, I didn't have a full-blown background in finance and all of that stuff. All I had was what the books taught me when I was in college. And so it was pretty intimidating. I would be around all of these finance gurus who would have all this complex and intimidating lingo to share with me. And I'm like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Can somebody please break it down? And of course, nobody's going to break it down to you. They're expecting you to know. So I try to break down the stock investing process, the markets, finance, all of that in easy female-friendly terms so we don't be intimidated. Once we overcome that communication barrier, hey, we're bad. We can do anything. We can really dive in and own our investment process. So what I want to start off with is, okay, you want to know more about investing. What should you do? Where should you start? Before you start investing, I want you to think about three things. Get your pen and paper, because you really want to think about these three things before you just give up your money to any old company out there or to the company that your friend said you should invest in. Number one, net worth. You might be familiar with net income, how much money you're making every year, but many people don't talk about net worth. Net worth is what you keep. Net income is only what you make. So net income, what you're making that year. Net worth, what you're keeping. That's really important. We need to be able to distinguish those two, because when you are evaluating companies that you want to invest in, you're going to look at their financial characteristics, right? So get comfortable with that by first starting with you. Don't give your money to somebody else until you understand you. I want to know, do you know your net worth before you start investing? What is net worth? Assets minus liabilities. Your assets can include cash, savings, bonds, stocks, properties, precious metals. All of those are included in your assets. And then if you look at your liabilities can include your student loan debt, your mortgage debt, credit card debt. All of those are included in liabilities. What you are going to do is add up those assets, subtract those liabilities, and you get your net worth. Do this exercise, because this is the same exercise and these are the same things you'll be looking at when you determine, hey, do I want to give this money to a specific company? So know where you stand first. And I have resources on net worth to help you understand that on wealthywomendaily.com if you need help calculating that number. Number two, get comfortable saving. Save your money. It's not called being frugal or cheap. It's called keeping your money. So save. Build a savings fund. That can be your emergency fund, a regular savings fund that you tap into for expenses that you may have coming up throughout the year. Save. And once you start building your savings fund, calculate your savings rate. That is very important, because sometimes we can be thinking that, oh, I'm doing really good, I'm saving a lot of money, but you realize you're only saving 10% of your income. And you only getting 10% and giving 90% away. Is that good? Depends on you. If you feel comfortable with giving 90% of your hard-earned money away, hey, that's cool, but do what it takes to increase your savings rate over time. And to do that, You'll have to either increase your income or decrease your expenses so that you can have more to allocate towards saving. I always tell people, if you're on the road towards financial freedom, you want to increase that gap between what you make and what you spend so that you can have more to save. And if you have a lot to save, you have more to invest. You want as much as you can to invest, because then you can really get those high quality stocks and those high quality dividends. So save what you can and calculate your savings rate. Your savings rate is calculated, you can do it weekly. Let's say you make $1,000 a week and you save $100. You would do $100 divided by 1,000. That's a 10% savings rate. And then you want to allocate, okay, what percentage of my savings can I allocate towards investing? And that's going to depend upon, hey, am I single or am I married, or do I have kids to think about, you know? And what are my expenses? Do I have an emergency fund for 6 months? What type of job do I have? Am I an entrepreneur? Am I making steady income? So all of those things are going to go into or be considered when you think about how much you can allocate towards investing right now. But the main goal is, if you are doing this on a weekly basis, even if you allocated $25 to your investing portfolio, that adds up over time. That's $25 every week, $100 a month, $1,200 over the year. Over 10 years, you have $12,000 to allocate. That's just because of a 10% savings rate where you allocated a small portion to investing. Think about if you had more or allocated more, what you could do with that. Last but not least, learn how investing works. Don't give up all your money if you know nothing about investing. So what is the stock market? What type of companies are out there for me to invest in? How do I make money from the stock market? Find out all of those things. And Dividends Are a Queen's Best Friend, I take you step by step through that process. Here's the book. I take you through that process in less than 90 pages. So it's really simple. I'm telling you how NASDAQ works, how the New York Stock Exchange works, how to profit from your passion in the market, because you can make money through capital appreciation. When the price of a stock goes up from $12 to $20, hey, you made $8 per share. Or you can make money through dividend payments. When companies pay you just for investing in them, those dividends are rewards for investing in the company. And let's say I invest for 10, 20 years. I don't invest anymore. Guess what? I still get those dividends as long as the company declares the dividends. So I'm not punished if I don't give the company any more money. And I qualify for an automatic pay raise, which we'll probably get into later if there are questions about that. What I mean by an automatic pay raise with dividend stocks is that companies may give you or may increase their dividend every year. That's called dividend growth. So when you invest in those dividend growth companies, you can get more money from dividends without adding more money to your account, which is really cool. I absolutely love that. There are companies out there that have been paying dividends for over 25 consecutive years. And I always look at them to see, okay, well, how are they doing now in this economy? Have they transitioned and evolved with technology? Can I still trust them to pay those dividends? But I look at those, so I want to have some good quality dividends in my portfolio. But learn your options. And that's what I talk about in Dividend Investor, which is my newsletter. I tell and show people about those different options, because how can you invest, or how would you know what to invest in and what works for you if you don't know what's out there? There are so many different sectors that you can invest in. There are so many different tax considerations, just so many things to consider. And so I'm giving you that information so that you can be an informed investor and have intelligent conversations, because you never know how the information that you hear around you at events can lead to a stock that you can invest in that can make you a ton of money over your lifetime investing period. So I know I gave you a lot about what you should do before you start investing. I'm going to pause. I don't want to overwhelm you. Let me know if you have any questions right now before I move on.
I know One thing that we always kind of talk about when I email you is how do you know which stocks to invest in? Like I'll go Google stuff, try to see what's trending, read your newsletters. Like how would you know what to invest in?
Yeah, definitely. So in my book, there's a chapter called Profit from Your Passion. Let's start with the watch list. What's on your watch list? Think about things you already know. Start there because you understand how the product works, how popular it is. If the company has an economic moat, which means it's hard for competitors to get in because they have a big market share in that industry. So those are all things to look at. And I talk about this in chapter 3, Profit from Your Passion. So in chapter 3, Profit from Your Passion, and Dividends, Our Queen's Best Friend, we talk about an exercise that you can do. First, think about you and your likes. Now, if I would have did this in 2008, 2009, I remember everybody was just gung-ho over Apple products, and we were very loyal. I was like super excited on my Mac computer. I wanted to get an iPhone. Everything was just Apple related. So I would have did an analysis on Apple, but I would have saw that, wow, based on, this customer loyalty they have, I don't really see that customer loyalty anywhere else. Could they really have something on the market? I would look at the financial statements from there. I would look at how much debt they have, and their potential for growth is most important. But you want to start with what you like. Now, if you have no idea what to invest in, or if you don't think people like what you like and that the companies that are on your list are just not going anywhere, that's exactly why I created the Dividend Investor and the Wealthy Woman Investor. So the Dividend Investor just focuses on dividend paying stocks. So you may not get a stock that's want to go from $100 to $500, but you'll get your dividends. You'll get the safety of your dividends with those stocks. With growth stocks, you're looking for that large growth that you can capitalize on.
Oh, I forgot I was muted. And and that's a good point though, because what I did, I took that when you told us that the last time, I think I invested into it because I use QuickBooks every day. But then, like you were saying, I also monitor what they were doing, and I'm like, yeah, no, I don't see any success in this. And then I look at like shoe stores because I know I like shoes. But then I also look at where we are now with this pandemic. And one of the investments that I actually have now and that has been growing is one of the medical, I can't even think of the name of it, but I know they're helping work to find the vaccines or something for coronavirus. Well, something like that, is going to increase because everybody's looking for some type of vaccine or, bio company or something like that. And it's grown. And I think I just purchased that maybe a month or so ago. I think I'm up $360 something or something. So
That's awesome.
I look at trends like that, like where we are right now, what's going on in the world, and what areas or something you can potentially see growth because of what the nation is going through.
Very true, because right now, that's true. You have to look at trends. That's why I say, look at listen to what people are saying around you and what's going on. Just like now, everybody's in a digital space. So who's making money right now from this digital space and from these stay-at-home orders and from these companies working remotely? You have to be in tune with these trends. And that's definitely something I'm always studying and looking at and evaluating the stocks based on these trends that I'm seeing now and what can potentially happen in the future. So yes, that is definitely what you have to do. You have to stay abreast of what's going on because things change. Something could have been good last year, but then this year, no. And you have to make that decision. Should I break up with my stocks? Should I divorce my stocks? And I talk about that in the book. I talk about the divorce, ending a relationship with the stock that you thought was going to work out, but it didn't. How do you do that? And what does that mean for your taxes? What does it mean for your gains or losses? All of those things. And what does it mean for your next investment? I talk about all those things in the book because everybody is always like, I want to buy, but nobody talks about what happens when you have to sell. What happens when the relationship no longer works? How do I go through that process and what's next?
And we actually have a question. Natika says, can you talk more about the tax impact on investing?
So it depends on what you invest in and how you invest. So many ways you can invest. You can invest in a taxable account, taxable brokerage account. You've probably heard of Robinhood, a regular traditional brokerage account like TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, all of those. Now, if you buy and sell stock, or if you sell your stock, it is a taxable event because you'll have either a capital gain or capital loss. So you'll get capital gain tax treatment depending on if it's a short-term gain or a long-term gain. So that's one thing to consider right there. Now, if you are investing in a tax-free account, which I absolutely love this account, so I can talk about this account for hours, the Roth IRA. IRA stands for Individual Retirement Account. I was in high school taking my econ class, economics, and my teacher said, one thing that you need to do before you get out into the work world is to open a Roth IRA. I was like, okay, let me get my Roth IRA. So when I was in college, I opened my Roth IRA, but I didn't understand how it works. I would put $25 in here, $25 in there. No. Have a plan for your Roth in order to maximize the benefits of it, because me putting money in my account didn't do anything. It was just like a savings account if you put money in it. What I should have dig deeper into is, how do you make money? You don't automatically make money from your retirement account unless you invest the money that you have in your retirement account. Now you invest, let's say you invested your stock that grew 300% in your retirement account. Guess what? You don't pay taxes on it. You're not going to get a tax form for the year. No taxes. And you don't pay taxes on the earnings. It's tax-free money. You can't touch it until retirement, but you don't pay taxes on the earnings. Now you can take your contributions out and not have to pay taxes on it. You just cannot take out your earnings because you will be penalized for taxes. But when it comes to investing, I always make sure I start off with my Roth IRA first. I invest in all types of stocks, especially if there could be a high tax consequence for investing in a regular brokerage account. I'm going to use my Roth because you don't pay no taxes on any type of investments in your Roth. So if I want a high yield investment, something that's going to pay me a lot of money, I'm not trying to touch my personal account. Let me put that in my retirement account. Let me allow that to grow tax-free. Let me allow that money to compound tax-free. And if I have $100,000 or $1 million in my Roth IRA when I turn 59 and a half, guess what? I can take that out tax-free. I get the entire amount tax-free. I love it. Now with your 401k, you are getting tax advantages in the year that you contribute. So for 2020, you can contribute up to $19,500 to your 401k plan. You contribute that, that's a tax deduction, reduces your taxable income for the year. You pay less in taxes, keep more of your money. And later on, so it's not like I automatically get to eliminate my taxes for life. It's deferring my taxes to a later period. So let's say it's time for you to retire. You got to pay taxes on it, but typically when it's at the time you retire, you might not have to pay as much taxes. It all depends on how much money you are making at the time you retire, or when you start withdrawing, getting your required minimum distributions if you have a traditional retirement account. But those are things that you have to think about. How will I be taxed? You know, your tax advantage, you're getting a tax break now, but you'll be paying for that later. Roth, you're using after-tax dollars. It's already been taxed. So it's all growing and accumulating and compounding tax-free. And you can use your Roth for specific things like a down payment on a home or just college expenses and not have to pay taxes on it. And your kids can open up a Roth IRA. So if you want your kids to have $1 million portfolio, start early. Timing is everything. And you reduce the taxes that your kids pay. Your kids probably won't even have to pay anything in taxes because they have a Roth IRA. They're making up to the standard deduction from your business or from work that they have. There's just so much you can do to reduce your taxes. So it all depends on the type of account that you're putting it in. If it's a regular traditional account, if it's a Roth IRA, and how often are you selling stocks and what type of stocks. REITs, you will be taxed at a higher rate. So I don't put a lot of REITs in my personal account, but it all depends on you and your tax bracket that you are in. But these are all things to consider. So you want to talk with a tax advisor who specializes in investments if you want to do this. Don't try to do this alone. It's a lot of rules. I can tell you things, but then there are exceptions to those rules. Every accountant knows there are exceptions to the rules. So you need to know those rules and make sure it's applicable to you. This is general information for anybody, but make sure that you talk to somebody about your specific situation, because that 1 hour conversation for $500 can save you thousands of dollars by getting that tax advice. Like I said earlier, you don't want to mess up on the tax piece. A lot of people making 6 figures out here, but guess what? They in 7 figures worth of debt because of taxes. You know, if you don't know how to pay the taxes on that or understand the taxes associated with the money that you're bringing in and your investments, you can be in debt. And it's like, okay, you worked hard to make all that money and you still don't got nothing. You actually owe more. What was the point of that?
Exactly. And then I would also tell people, don't be afraid of tax implications and use it as a reason not to invest. Because that's almost like my regular clients, like accounting, like, oh my God, I owe taxes. Well, if you make money, you're gonna owe taxes. Like if you have income, any which way you're getting it, but don't look at it as a bad thing always. Just make sure, like you said, to use a tax strategist, not all accountants, because I'm a CPA and I don't do taxes like that. So make sure that you plan it out, but don't think that, oh my God, I don't want to invest because then I'm going to owe all these taxes. Like I wouldn't go into it that way, because then you're just missing out on what could be very advantageous to you. So
yeah, and most wealthy people invest more than they work because of the tax benefits. So we have these 7 tax brackets for individuals, and it's all the way up to, what is it, 37%, 35, 37% right now. That's the highest tax bracket. Well, when you invest, you have other tax brackets. You have 0%, 15%, 20% for long-term capital gains. So you are paying less taxes on your investments if you have long-term investments, which is awesome. So you're sitting there not doing anything, just investing your money and paying less taxes for the person who's working hard out there to make their money. So it's more advantageous to invest rather than earn money from a W-2 job or maybe from even entrepreneurship. Those are all sources of earned income. So when you're looking at your income buckets, you want to think about, okay, earned income, how much do I have and how much taxes do I have to pay because it's earned income? Investments, your passive income, how much do I have? Dividends, how much do I have and how much do I have to pay? Because there are different tax implications associated with different forms of income. So all of that needs to be thought about. That's why I say talk to a strategist who can help you figure out the ideal tax strategy for your sources of income and your long-term goals.
now, what is the max per year for Roth IRA contributions?
Right now, it is $6,000. $6,000. They changed that, I believe, in 2018 or 2019 to $6,000. It was $5,500 for a long time. So $6,000. I have a savings plan where I show people how you can save $6K in 6 months just by starting with $25. All you need is $25 1 week, and every week you contribute, and then you'll meet your 6,000. People are like, do I have to do 6,000? No, you don't have to do 6,000, but you want to max it out as much as you can, because that's tax-free income that you get when you retire. That 6,000 can turn into 8,000 this year, and it's tax-free income that's just compounding on itself until you retire or take it out.
Okay, and Clarissa asks, do you review and monitor your investments daily?
No, you don't have to do that daily. No, that's definitely a lot of work. No, there's no need to do that. So I would say there are two ways that you can invest. Either you can get a financial advisor who's going to monitor your portfolio for you and suggest what type of allocation you have based on your age and risk tolerance, or you can do it yourself. That's active investing. And when you're active investing, you don't have to look at each position every day. No, you just have to have a resource where you can know what's going on in the world. Like you just, like if you didn't know Corona happened, oh my God, you would be messed up. You need to know what's going on. If you didn't know that businesses were shutting down, unemployment rates were climbing, that's going to impact a lot of businesses. So you need to know what's going on with just the world in general. And I know a lot of people are busy. They don't have time to, it's so much information out there. It's information overload. And we're all doing like 10, 20 Zoom meetings a day. So nobody has time for all that. So that's why in my newsletters, I give you what you need to know. Hey, this is going on. Unemployment is high. This is going to impact this industry. But this is an industry that is still growing because of Corona. This is impacting this how, and the profits on this company. I'm giving you the revenues. I'm telling you about the earnings call. The earnings calls are how I find out about the companies and their plans for the future. So you want to know where a company is going in the future. I don't have to stalk the company every day, but having an idea of where it's going in the future and what role it plays today definitely helps.
Now, is it expensive to use a third party like brokerage versus just going on to Robinhood or something and doing it yourself?
So I believe this was in 2018, a lot of brokerage companies, I'm not sure if you're talking about a traditional brokerage account or having a person actually manage your portfolio for you. But like Robinhood, definitely hands-on, you do everything yourself. But traditional brokerage accounts like TD Ameritrade, Fidelity, they don't have any commission fees either. That's what made Robinhood so attractive in 2018. Commission fees are the fees that you had to pay for buying and selling stock. So they would say, hey, you might have to pay $6.99 every time you execute a transaction, every time you buy 5 shares of stock for this company, or every time you sell 10 shares of stock for this company. You have to pay the buying price plus the commission fee, and that's the total amount you have to pay. Well, 2018, the rules changed. Well, the game changed because people wanted to compete. Competition changes things. So Fidelity and all these other companies were like, hey, I'm slashing my commission fees too. No commission fees. So if you open an account with Fidelity, you don't need to put in a minimum balance. You just open an account. It's just like opening a savings account. We know some savings account, they require you to put in a minimum balance, but not all do. And that's the same way for brokerage accounts. They do not, a lot of them do not require a minimum balance or anything. So you can put your, let's say you open your Fidelity account and you put in nothing, okay? Who cares? A month later, you put in $100, okay? Yippee, you put in $100, nothing happens. And then a month later, you put in 200. You're building towards your 6,000. That's the only thing that you have to worry about. You can't go over the 6,000. You can put in any amount, but can't go over the 6,000. And you buy and sell, and you don't have to pay any commission fees, which is amazing. So you have a lot of options to invest or start your portfolio. Just start the account and create a watch list. If you're not ready to invest, start the account and start funding it with money if you're not ready to invest yet. Because you want to have money by the time you're ready to invest. You don't want to say, hey, I'm ready to invest, but I only got $5. What was you doing all that time? Why you only got $5 in your account? So those are things to consider before or while you're in this process of getting your money together so that you can invest. Start building, start opening these accounts, and start learning as much as you can.
I think that's a great point, because a lot of people think, okay, well, let me save, 1,000, 5,000 or whatever first to invest, versus like you're saying, we have it set up. And of course, I only know Robinhood because that's what you introduced me to, and that's what I use. But we have it set up to where, like my husband, especially his account, he has $25 a week. And an automatic transfer that goes from our account to his Robinhood account. Even if he doesn't invest it or do anything with it, it sits in his account. And then when he sees something, he has the funds there, and then he'll go ahead and purchase it. And then the same thing, like if I see something, or I'll fund mine with say 1,000 or 1,500, And if I see something I want is there, if I decide, okay, this is looking good, I'm gonna sell it. Even when you sell, you don't withdraw it. Like I don't sell and say, okay, now put it back in my account. You know, you sell it and you let it sit there until you decide, okay, what do I want to invest in now? So I definitely don't want the ladies to think you have to set up a savings to invest before you invest.
Exactly. Like, let me just say this, because this is one thing that I realized. Women, we make things so complicated. If I want to go buy those shoes, I would just go in the store and buy those shoes. I wouldn't think about, okay, how do I do this right now? No, which card do I use? No, that's a lot. Make it simple. It's just like having a savings account. You need to make investing a part of your life.
Yep.
You know, when I look at the decisions I make every day, I'm like, okay, am I going to buy that big bag of chips for $5 that's going to, make me have all types of problems? Or am I going to put that $5 in my investing account? It's just those small decisions that you make every day that allow you to build a lifelong portfolio. I always tell people, look at those expenses, knock out what you don't need. If you ain't using Amazon Prime, knock it out. Use that $12.99 to put in your investing account. Don't think that you need millions of dollars to invest. I got stocks in my portfolio that are $3 and still growing. So you don't need a lot of money. You can start with $3. And then when you open your Robinhood account, you got a free stock. You were invested because you had a free stock. And now all you have to do is create your watch list, add money, and then when you're ready to dive in, do it. It's those simple things you do every day. You can allocate $10. I put $10 this week, $10 next week. Just doing simple things every day. You don't have to have a big lump sum, because if you're waiting until you have a big lump sum, you're probably late. You're late to the game, and stock prices have already went up and you've missed out on opportunities. But there are always opportunities. You just have to be positioned every day to take advantage of those opportunities.
Yeah, now that's something I do. I don't necessarily check the account. Well, I check my Robinhood account every day, but it's more so, like you said, see what's low, see what maybe I can buy, what's an opportunity that's out there. Not necessarily checking it every day to just be trading and moving stuff around, because you have to give stuff time. Like I'm impatient like that, and my husband told me, they're like, give it time. Because I'm like, I lost $3 today, I'm trading. He was like, no.
Yeah.
No, let it sit. Just give it time.
Give it time. And if you want to build a massive dividend portfolio, so a lot of people, their goal is to build a dividend portfolio that pays their bills. That's not going to happen in 2 months. I'm sorry. If you want to guarantee success, you want to be able to put steps in place each and every day that allows you to guarantee long-term success. Don't think it's a one-time thing, a lump sum, or anything like that. It's the small things you do every day that will help you succeed. Like with dividends, if you keep buying dividend stocks on a regular basis, it's going to grow. You're going to see the compounded interest on that. And you will be able to see all of that money 5 or 10 years now from dividends, and then 20 years from now. So the time horizon that you have plays a big part. So if you wait too long, you won't be able to take advantage of all the perks that come from investing.
And looks like we have another question here. This is probably just to everyone, and I can kind of answer this too. So she's asking, is anyone using a tax strategist in the network, or do you all have a webinar forthcoming with the tax strategist? We do have that webinar coming up. I'm not sure if anyone that has registered is a tax strategist. I know that Tori is working on her certification. Charlene, do you have anyone in your network that's a tax strategist?
I don't do any tax strategy with anything except dividends. Now, if you need taxes on dividends and how that strategy works on investing, that's what I do. So I will do more upcoming webinars, because I know a lot of people have questions about, okay, the Roth IRA versus putting it in the taxable brokerage account versus putting it in my 401k. What are the rules to this game? Yes, I do have that. I have a course coming up. I do have a book on that, but I'll be sharing more information about my upcoming webinar. I have a webinar for that specific thing, for the different accounts that you can invest in for your various investments that you have.
Now, is it useful to use more than one? Like, for example, I use Robinhood, but then you have Ameritrade, and you have these others. Is it any benefit to using multiple?
I have about 5, and I'll tell you why. So Robinhood is new. It's a good beginner account, but if you're looking for more, if you're looking for more options, Robinhood limits you. It's a beginning startup account because they're a startup company. It's meant for the everyday investor, so they're not giving you everything. And then I don't believe you can open up a Roth with you can only, I believe that's only a taxable brokerage account. You can get fractional shares with Robinhood, which is really cool. But Robinhood was designed for that beginner level. Once you're ready to just get in without feeling intimidated by the interface of these other traditional companies, Robinhood is a great starter one. I love Fidelity because they have customer service. Robinhood ain't giving you no customer service like that. It's a starter, so you're gonna get the basic. You're gonna get the basic of the basic. And their account crashed during the corona because they had never experienced so many trades at one time, so you wasn't able to buy or sell. Do you want to deal with that? I don't like risk at that level. If something don't work out for me, I want to be able to say, hey, bye. I got my money somewhere else too. I'm going over there so I can buy and sell. I do not want to depend on one company. It's too new for me to put all my money in there. I can't do it. So I do believe in having other types of accounts with different companies because you just never know what can happen with one company. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. I am a true believer in diversification of all kinds, diversification of accounts, because I want to be able to access my accounts in different situations. Diversification of stocks. I don't just have dividend stocks. I have growth stocks, and then I have various kinds of dividend stocks in different types of accounts. So each account that I have, it has a purpose. So you want to have a purpose for your account. My Roth is for my retirement, and I'm doing certain things in my Roth. Plus, if you want to be able to get real estate in your retirement account, you better start building up that Roth, because a lot of people don't know you can get alternative investments in your retirement accounts, and that's just another level. That's another course I'm doing. Like, okay, once I'm finished maxing out my Roth and I nailed that, I got the 6,000 in my Roth, what's the next level? How can I increase my return on my investments? Because with the Roth, and if you're going to a traditional brokerage account, you have to realize this. If you're going to a Fidelity, TD Ameritrade, you can only buy what the brokerage account sells. So those brokerage accounts, they typically sell stocks, bonds, mutual funds, ETFs. ETFs are exchange traded funds. If that's all they sell, that's all you can buy in your portfolio, so you're limited. But there are other accounts you can use if you want to put your business in there, or have real estate in there, or have just all types of other investments. Well, you're going to graduate to different accounts in order to make that happen.
Okay, and then Kiara Williams says, what are the pros and cons of investing in Roth 401k versus Roth IRA?
So Roth IRA is an individual retirement account. You can only contribute $6,000 to a Roth IRA. Roth 401k is different because the contribution limits are like that of a 401k. So I believe this year the Roth 401k would be $19,500. Don't quote me on that, but I think those are the contribution limits for the Roth 401k. Many employers have a Roth 401k, which means they are giving you a match, which is really awesome to have a match with your Roth 401k. They are matching whatever you contribute, whatever their matching looks like, their matching plan. Maybe they're giving you a 1-to-1 or 1-to-2, whatever that looks like, you're getting a match, you're getting free money. Roth IRA, nobody giving you money. You're doing that on your own. It's an individual retirement account. So the max is $6,000. Roth is just like the traditional IRA as far as the contribution limits. Taxed differently, but the contribution limits for both of those are $6,000. That's all you can put in. Let me see. Yeah, that's, oh, and don't think you have to choose between one or the other. So if your employer offers a Roth 401k, yes, but you can still get a Roth IRA. That's completely different. You know, it's the Roth 401k just works like your employer sponsored plans, and Roth IRA is what you're doing on your own. You're doing this on your own. So when I was working in financial services, yeah, I had my pension plan, my employee stock plan, my 401k plan, all of those plans my company was doing. But I also had my Roth and my personal accounts because that's separate. I like to diversify. Remember that, diversify. I never depend on my employer to meet my every need. Never, ever, ever depend on one source to meet your every need. I am not going to depend on my employer to fulfill all my needs during retirement. I'm sorry, I can't do that. That keeps me up at night. I have to have some control over my financial future. So I love doing the individual retirement accounts for that reason, because I have a say so. And then with the Roth 401k, you can only invest in what your company will allow you to invest in based on their plan. What are the options? And are they going to allow you to invest in individual stocks like Amazon? Probably not. So you have to look at the investment plans that your company offers through a Roth 401k and see what works best for you. And if that doesn't work for you, hey, get those investments, get the matches in your Roth 401k, and allocate, do what you want in your personal. You know, you always have that flexibility to do what you want in your personal individual retirement accounts.
And Natika says, could you talk about investing in high yield savings accounts? Do you suggest them, or how should you select a good place to invest this way?
Investing. So, okay. I used to love high yield savings accounts. So if you just want to save your money, sure, go ahead and look at a high yield savings account. This was 10 years ago. I used to go to bankrate.com to look at all the high yield savings accounts. I used to do that. But remember this, if you're putting your money in a savings account, guess what? The financial institution that has your money is going to take your money and try to get a 10% return on that in the market or by loaning that out to somebody. And I'm not going to put the majority of my money there. If I have 100,000, I'm not putting 90,000 in a high yield savings account, because that means your money is not working for you. It's working for somebody else. You're basically giving the bank money to borrow so that they can turn that 90,000 into 200,000. And I feel some type of way about that. I don't know. I like to make my money work for me, not the bank use my money to work for the bank.
Doesn't that limit the growth potential of your money too? Because it's sitting there, and even if you're getting 3, 4, even 5% or something, that's still limiting the growth, right?
Right, and let's look at those interest rates. We know we ain't getting no 5% right now, no 4%, no 3%. Yeah. And the traditional, so the high yield in today's world may be 2%. I don't even know if that's high yield right now. That might be 1%. That's high yield. Think about what high yield means in this interest rate environment. Is it truly high yield? It might be higher than what everybody else is getting, but you also have to think about, what does high yield mean? It means, and I talk about this in Dividends Are Queen's Best Friend, because we talk about high yield investments all the time. High yield means high risk. The bank, the financial institution, is in dire need of money. They may be going bankrupt. You never know. And so it's considered junk, high yield junk. So they need some money fast, and they're willing to pay you a premium more than everybody else to be able to get your money. So that's why it's high yield. You're taking a risk. So you have to think about it. What's your risk tolerance? And what needs does this bank have? They must, if they're giving you 5% right now, they must need a lot of money to stay afloat. That's probably why they're doing it.
You know, speaking of risk, Clarissa asks, is there an investment insurance that will lock in your dividend/stock price amount if the market drops?
Dividend insurance. That's a great question. So you can do a stop loss. A stop loss allows you to limit your losses in the stock market. So let's say you buy stock for 100 and stock is constantly growing, and right now it's $200. Well, you could put a stop loss in for 150 to make sure that it automatically sells if it ever goes down to that point, or below that point. So there are things you can do in the markets to make sure that you're good. Now with dividends, you don't get dividends unless the company declares the dividend. So as long as the company says, hey, we're good, we can declare this dividend, and you've purchased shares of stock before the X dividend date. The X dividend date, you got to pay attention to that to get your dividends. It's the date you must have those shares in your account in order to qualify for the next dividend payout. So if you qualify for the dividends, you'll get it. But look at the economy we are in. A lot of companies are suspending their dividends. So you want to have a well-diversified list of companies in different industries to make sure your dividends are protected. And if your dividends aren't protected, what's your strategy? That's exactly what I talked about in my May newsletter for the Dividend Investor. And I'm giving that away for free if you join a Dividend Investor, because it's so important to have a strategy. How do you preserve capital? That's what you're probably asking me. How do I preserve capital and not lose all my money? There are strategies to that. And in my newsletter, the Dividend Investor and the Wealthy Woman Investor, I'm going through that because I don't want you to lose money. I want you to be able to invest, but I also want you to preserve capital while you're investing. And there are certain things that you can do beyond dividend stocks that will allow you to be good if dividend stocks are declining. Because if something is going down, guess what? Something else is going up.
That's for sure. All right, ladies, any more questions? We're coming close to the hour. Type them in, type fast, let me know.
And I know I was talking really fast, and there's just so much to share when it comes to investing. We can talk for like 20 hours on this. It's just so much. So if you want more information, if you want my monthly newsletters and discounts on the courses, I have a special. The Dividend Investor is $97. And if you get it right now, you will get the July Dividend Investor as well, so you can know what to expect and know what stocks you can add to your watch list and how to evaluate stocks. It's some good information. Like, having information at your disposal will make a huge difference in your investment strategy. I've paid thousands of dollars to get information from other people because there's so much information out there. I want the best information. I want to understand my options. So I'm giving the Dividend Investor for $97 a year. It's $97 a year, and you will get access to a monthly subscription, a monthly newsletter with dividend stocks. You'll also get access to discounted courses, and you'll also have access to me to ask any of those questions that you have about the assets that are listed in the newsletter. It's like a one-on-one email financial coach in a way, because you're getting the lowdown that nobody else is going to have time to sit and really talk about that. You know, we all want investing buddies, and so I'm here to provide that resource.
I love that, investing buddies, because that's true. Because let me tell you, ladies, Googling it doesn't work. you still won't know what to do.
Exactly. And by the time it gets on Google, it's like, okay, it's kind of late information. Yeah. So you want to get that information before it's well known to the public, because when it's well known to the public, the stock price already went up. You want to be able to evaluate things before the stock price goes up.
Definitely. So ladies, if you have any other, I know someone mentioned about a tax strategist. We do have a session coming up with a tax strategist. But if there are any other webinars or informational sessions you want to see presented, you can email us at admin@theladiescpanetwork.com. We've now had the series going on. This is our third webinar. We're doing one every week. As long as I can line up speakers with relevant information that you ladies want to hear from, then we're continuing to line them up. So next week we have Sabine. She's coming to us to talk about certifications, because in the accounting profession, you don't just have to be a CPA. You can be a CPA with 500 million other certifications. And I've always wondered, when you see all these acronyms behind the name, like, what does that mean? What's the benefit of it? What kind of job can I get with it? How much did it cost? All of that. So she's going to be with us next Tuesday talking about all those different certifications, certified financial examiner, certified forensic financial. I mean, it's so many different topics. Like, she's a certified internal auditor, certified, all of this stuff. So definitely tune in for that. On the 18th, I really think everybody should tune in. It's going to be Ashley Fox of Fox Legal, and she's a trademark attorney. And I think it's very, very important, because all of us with businesses, brands, your brand could be yourself. So whatever it is, she's going to discuss with us the importance of trademarking your brand, your business, whatever it is. So she'll be discussing that on the 18th. We have a tax strategist session coming up. We have an organizer, literally a professional organizer, can organize anything in your life, from your closet to your finances, whatever needs organizing. We based it on workflow, how to organize your workflow, your work-life balance, your calendar, your schedule. She's coming up. I believe her date is the 1st of September. So as long as you ladies want to see them and you attend, just email us. Let me know what you would like to see, what you would like to hear us present information on. Definitely continue follow us. And Charlene's webinar will actually be, I've recorded it. So if you missed it or you came in late, or you know someone that registered but for whatever reason missed it, it'll be on our YouTube channel. So make sure I'll have it probably downloaded by tomorrow. So you ladies can still go back if you forgot something she said, or if you couldn't remember any of the information, or if you just want to revisit it again so you can take more notes. You can always go to our YouTube channel. That's at The Lady CPA on YouTube. All of our social media is at The Lady CPA. Charlene, let everyone know how to reach you.
I am at wealthywomendaily.com. If you need to email me, just send me an email at wealthywomendaily@gmail.com. That's wealthywomendaily.com. I'm also on Instagram at wealthywomendaily.
And one of the webinar sessions we're going to come have, and I got to find a host for that one, is going to be talking about generational wealth. Because I think a lot of times as women, we have a job, maybe one, and maybe even a little small side hustle. But that's not going to create generational wealth. And I need us women to know that when we dead and gone, our children, our legacy, whoever it is, they're provided for. Because a lot of times, especially in our culture, it falls on the man, the husband, whoever it is that had money and you got married and all of this now belongs to. No, you need to establish it for yourself. Love my husband, but you still got to have your own. So make sure, as soon as I find a great host for that one, I definitely want to speak to that. It takes some doing. You definitely will work more than one job, but it won't be necessarily a job. It can be a business. It can be investment. It can be a business you invested in. So you're not working in the business every day, but you're collecting money every day because you invested in this business. So whatever it is, I think as women, I heard Shawnee O'Neal say, you should have 7 streams of income. Doesn't mean you work in 7 jobs, ladies, but you should definitely have income coming from any which way you can get it. Because if your job lays you off, if for whatever reason, all my clients just fell off the earth, I'll be fine because I have money coming in from other areas. So if you get laid off tomorrow, you don't want to have to sit here and figure out, oh my God, what am I going to do? Don't ever invest all of your eggs into a bucket, especially when you're an employee. If you can't control it, I can kind of control, unless my brain just fall out my head, I can kind of control my business and make sure that it's sustainable. But when you're working for someone else, and I don't downplay working for someone else. I mean, working for corporations is wonderful, but if you are working for someone else, know that you aren't in control of that. So make sure that you do have other alternatives in other areas that you can fall back on. So I believe that is all. Make sure you follow us. Again, all social media is at The Lady CPA. We're coming to you every single Tuesday with a new webinar, a new topic. So make sure you continue to follow us, like it, do whatever you do. I just want to keep motivating you guys to be your best selves all the time. All right, ladies, you have a good evening, and we'll see you next week. And don't forget, check out the YouTube channel. I load videos 3 times a week, and it's called What's Your Present Value? And I intentionally, let me tell you that, I intentionally named it that because when people think present value, they think of money. But all of us have a value. And whatever we're investing in ourselves today is increasing that value. So what's your present value? And it's all about whatever knowledge or information or relevant stuff that's going on today. Invest in that knowledge because in the future, it will increase your present value. So that's what that is. Make sure you tune into that and have a good evening, guys. See ya.